Sivaya Nama Thiruchitrambalam. Welcome back to our discussion on the 9th Tirumurai, 17th Thirupathigam and the 6th verse. The verse goes this way, Thiruchitrambalam. eritharu karikaattu pinaninamundu ஏப்பமிட்டிலங்கையில் தழல்வாய் தூருகழல் நெடும்பே கணம் எழுந்தாடும் தூங்கிருள் நடுநல் யாமத்தே ஆருள் பூரி முறுவல் மூகில் நிலா எரிப்ப அந்தி போன்றோளிர் திருமேனி வாரியார ஆட ஆடும் எம் பெருமான் மறுவிடம் திருவிடை மருதே. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். Today's verse resonates with one padigam from the 11th Tirumurai, which is written by Karikaattu. Exactly the same concept is being resonated in this particular padigam also, in this verse also. Here Lord Shiva, it describes the place where Lord Shiva is. Lord Shiva is in the place which we are all very scared to get into, graveyard. And we know what happens in a graveyard. Either we will be burying the dead bodies or we will burn it. Whatever happens when the dead body is there, there's so much of fat in the body that the fat is coming out, and in order to eat those fats, there are so many ghosts going around in that particular place. And these ghosts are eating all the fat, and then it is moving on to the next dead body so that they could be fed on. Imagine this particular situation. If you can visualize this, it sounds scary, isn't it? But where is this graveyard? Who are the ghosts? And what is this fat all about? That is something we have to understand based on the earlier verse. The earlier verse said, we are being entangled in this world, and there are ways to get rid of this entanglement, which is Thirupathigams. Now, if we are getting entangled, what we are all into is the graveyard. If we don't try to realize this truth, and if we don't try to liberate us from this, what will happen? We will start running behind what we call it as a rat race. All sort of rat race that we are indulged in as of today, in order to just grow this outer body, we are all ghosts. Because we are not trying to understand the real purpose of this life. So what happens? We become ghosts. And what are we trying to eat? The fat. Fat which is totally unhealthy to us, which is nothing but the worldly pleasures that we are getting as of today. Any kind of a worldly pleasure that we are able to see around us is categorized under this particular fat. So how do we liberate ourselves from this? We need to start moving on and reading padigams. Only then we will start to move away from this graveyard, the same place where Lord Shiva is. Shiva is in the country as well as in the graveyard. But how do we want to see this place? Do we want to be seen as a ghost, or do we want to be seen as a saint? The same soul, when we are running behind what we call it as a rat race, we become the ghost that is being elaborated in this verse. The moment we try to understand the truth and we start running behind Thirupathigams, that is where we will start to live a saintly life. And who can do that? Only Lord Shiva can give us this transformation. That is what verse number 6 is all about. In this they say, how do we liberate ourselves and get away from this fat, get away from this ghost, and get away from this graveyard? The only way is we have to start with Thirupathigams. Once we start reciting Thirupathigams, slowly our conscience will move away from the worldly pleasures and get on to the path which can help us liberate. That is what verse number 6 is all about. I'll come back again with the next verse very soon. Until then, Sivaya Nama Thiruchitrambalam.